First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Somashila and Team AIOS for inviting me to this excellent and session on uveitis. So I'll be talking on investigations in scleritis. So first, my one message to the audience, like if you have any query and it remains unanswered, or somebody who is watching this recorded version of the program maybe later. So I'll be happy to take any question. You can drop me a mail at drparthopratim@gmail.com. I'll be happy to answer. So first of all, why we need to investigate a case of scleritis? The reason is approximately half of the patients can have an underlying systemic disorder. And if you diagnose this disorder and start effective treatment, many of such conditions, which are lethal disease, can save not only the eye, but also life of the patient. So always investigate a patient with scleritis. Now, why scleritis and systemic rheumatic disease? The reason is the sclera, cartilages, bones, ligaments, tendons, dermis, and leptomeninges are of same embryological origin from the neural crest and the mesoderm. Similarly, the gene expression pattern of human sclera is similar to that of the cartilage, and there are several common proteins or the biomarkers that are present in the sclera and synovium. Now, management of scleritis is like solving a jigsaw puzzle. You need a multidisciplinary approach and a proper balance and good teamwork between a rheumatologist and ophthalmologist. So as I said, it requires like step-by-step overview, like meticulous history, ocular systemic examination, and laboratory investigation. So before laboratory investigation, you have to perform these steps. So most important is history taking. You have to take history of surgery trauma because this can be a case of infectious scleritis. The joint pain and the joint stiffness, you have to note the symmetry, the duration of the joint pain, and activity, how whether it worsens with activity or not. Then similarly, several signs you have to elicit, and also the drug is very important. So drug history is very important to elicit or diagnose drug-induced scleritis, especially the biphosphonate, which can cause scleritis in the elderly patients. Now, the subtype of scleritis is very important. One phenotype I just want to highlight here. We did a study in 140 eyes of 123 patients with nodular scleritis, and there we found that the presumed ocular TV is very common in this category. So always rule out TV in India if you are dealing with a case of scleral node. So before proceeding to the laboratory investigation, identify the red flag signs of scleritis. So three red flag signs are, the first one is peripheral corneal involvement. If a warning sign, because there are increased likelihood if it is associated with peripheral corneal involvement. So scleritis plus peripheral corneal involvement, always investigate aggressively, because there are several studies showed that it has a systemic association with the systemic vasculitis cases. Next important one is the scleral necrosis. It as much high as 95% systemic association has been found. So next time you can see a case of necrotizing scleritis, investigate aggressively. The third point is the severe symptoms. When you see a case of scleritis which has a severe out of proportion symptoms than to clinical signs, always do an aggressive investigation. Try to evaluate for the ANCAs, because many of the time this can be ANCA-associated vasculitis. Now, most important step before ordering laboratory investigation is look for systemic signs. If you remember, the Sherlock Holmes told to Watson, you see, but you don't observe. So this happens in clinical practice also. So sometimes we forgot to examine this subtle clinical sign. Sometimes it can be inflamed auricle. Sometimes it can be the depressed nasal breach, which we don't pay attention. Sometimes it can be the butterfly rashes. Similarly, sometimes we miss this nodules over the bony prominences, the rheumatoid nodules, which indicates that these are the signs of the long-standing rheumatoid arthritis. Similarly, the other signs of systemic vasculitis like necrotic digit and all, no, you have to look for them before ordering investigation. Now, coming to the biomarkers in scleritis, broadly, the broad biomarkers can be defined as a measured characteristic which can be used to indicate the biological state or a disease. So we'll discuss here the rheumatoid factor, anti-nuclear antibody, the ANCAs, and HLA-B27. But before that, remember, no single test is diagnostic and specific, and there is no standard battery of tests for scleritis. You have to you can come across three scenarios. The scenario one, the patient presents with scleritis, there is no signs of systemic disease. You start the patient on treatment and then send to the rheumatologist. The biomarker is positive. There are definite signs of systemic disease, and that's a happy clinical scenario. You can continue the treatment under the supervision of a rheumatologist. The scenario one here, there are so many conditions: rheumatoid arthritis, granulomatous polyangiitis, also known as Wegener granulomatosis, relapsing polychondritis, and systemic lupus erythematosus. The scenario two is like you have a scleritis, there is no scleritis, patient is already a known systemic disease like rheumatoid arthritis with a positive biomarker, and the patient comes to you with scleritis. Very easy to treat these patients. You already know the systemic disease. So the most commonly seen in this kind of scenario too is seen in rheumatoid arthritis, where the scleritis occurs after the diagnosis, and severity of the scleritis can often carry a very important prognostic message. So you have to tell this to your rheumatologist, because if there is a severe scleral disease, it indicates the severe disease in the form of joint and vascular involvement. Also, there are higher incidences of ocular complications. So you have to tell your rheumatology friend to start aggressive treatment. And these patients have a higher mortality rate. So naturally, you have to convey it to your rheumatologist. So the scenario three is the most difficult. The first, the patient presents with scleritis in the clinic. No signs of systemic disease. The scleritis, the biomarker is you term it as idiopathic. Often what happens, the patient is lost to follow-up. If you can follow the patient for a long time, you can actually see that after a variable period of time, this patient can become positive and their biomarkers can be found positive. So this scenario three, which often we term them as a idiopathy. So the most common cause here is GPA, the granulomatous polyangiitis or the mitosis. The patients here are GPA and ANCA negative. Can I take one more minute?
Sure, Dr. Patil.
So the anti-nuclear antibody. So the third scenario, the most common example is the Wegener granulomatosis. Coming to the ANA, you have to understand that not only positive, you need to have a higher dilution like 1:160, which makes this highly suggestive. Coming to the rheumatoid factor, the only presence of rheumatoid factor is not enough because it can be seen in many conditions. And there are some ACPAs, the anti-citrullinated antibodies, which is found to be associated with seropositive, more erosive disease. But in scleritis, we don't see any such association. HLA-B27 has been labeled as a second or third most common cause of scleritis, so we should investigate them. Coming to the anti-nuclear neutrophilic cytoplasmic antibody, it has a limited role only if you look into the positive ANCA test, because it has positive predictive value of 63. That means there are chances that 30% of cases, if you only rely on the positive ANCA, you can wrongly diagnose the GPA. We did a study where in 33 eyes of 26 patients with ANCA positive scleritis, the tuberculosis was the second most common. So you have to understand that there can be a cross-reactivity of neutrophils with this microbacterial cell wall, which can give to wrongly the ANCA positivity. So be careful treating such patients with high aggressive immune suppressive in a TB endemic country. So just to finish my talk, that remember, while investigating a case of scleritis, you have to recognize the subtypes of the scleritis. Remember, history taking is the most important step in uveitis and scleritis. Recall the majority of the diagnoses are clinical. and rule the laboratory clinic. Don't be slave of it, and refer to a rheumatologist, internist, or to your colleague when you are in doubt. Thank you.